web media has already kind of overtaken the old school news media, that is TV, radio, papers, that have been out there for 60 plus years.
I completely agree with you. I think this is where I'm going to be kind of in sync with you. And on your side,
for a change.
Raja, while you say that, I think this is again, I'm going to beg to differ here.
At the beginning of the episode, you said we are going to be on the same page. What happened? Are you going back on your own word now? You know, we've seen what happened in America with Black Lives Matter. In India, justice for SSR.
Then is where, this whole shift, we need to understand that will again people come back to television, wherein the content is not all that expensive.
What's happening, everyone? We are back at it, and this is the second episode of the Double Trouble Show. The Double Trouble, here to burst your bubble. My name is Raja Mukherjee, and with me is the amazing Sangeeta Singh, and today we're going to be talking about news media versus social media. But before we begin, please go ahead, subscribe, like, and comment below. What topics would you want us to cover in the future podcast? And let us know your perspectives as well. With that being said, let the show begin.
Like, subscribe, and share. Wow, this is fantastic. And how true, Raja, that yes, we come back with yet another topic. I must say, yet another wonderful topic and yet another beautiful day for all of us here. News media versus social media.
I'll tell you why this topic was really thought about between us guys. Sangeeta, I believe the news media is losing its charm, and the social media, micro news platforms, blogs, and the web media has already kind of overtaken the old school news media, that is TV, radio, papers, that have been out there for 60 plus years. Is it time to move on from the news media to the new media, which is what we are talking about? What do you think? What do you feel?
True. I completely agree with you. I think this is where I'm going to be kind of in sync with you. And on your side,
for a change, we are on the same page. Yes. But yeah, let's see as the episode goes ahead. Let's see how much we are still on the same page. By the way, why do you think we call this the double trouble?
Yeah, absolutely. While Raja brings all this double trouble, I think I'm going to be the troublemaker for him. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions to him. I'm going to be the one who's going to kind of challenge every bit of perspective or a belief that he comes across, or rather an opinion, I must say. So, getting back to news media and social media, yes, very rightly, we can actually see a new surge, how it has happened over the past couple of years. And I guess this pandemic, I've actually started feeling it. Ideally what used to happen is just right before the lockdown, we would still have your print media, you still had your newspapers coming up to your home. And probably that point in time, you really couldn't figure out, or you couldn't really, there was no distinction as such to that, oh no, I am, I am like taking on to the social media. But I guess now with no newspapers, no print media, this is the right time for all of us to understand that yes, social media has made inroads into our lives. Like, I am somebody who would always wake up with like a newspaper in the morning, but now I am not missing it, Raja. I am really not missing it.
Are you still on your phone, on the app, reading the news and all of that? Are you on the browsers, or are you on Twitter actually seeing what's trending, what topics are hot to actually talk about?
Yes, no, but not really on the apps reading per se, but I've got more into listening, and which is why the podcast right now, because
yes, why not?
Which is why the podcast, because I think there's too much of, YouTube has a lot of content for
Absolutely.
a matter of fact, and very rightly said, Twitter. I think Twitter's become like another newsroom out there. You talk about debates, you talk about trendings, you talk about trolls, it's all out there on Twitter. So Twitter is like the big newsroom, and it's like, I could say it's like a global newsroom, this is what I feel.
Yeah, but it's clear to say, right, both the news media, the old school news media and the new media, I'm going to say the news media and the new media, right, which is the social media, have two very different target audiences and demographics that consume these things. because I don't think anybody at a certain age group, like our parents or anyone, people that are older from an older generation, would want to actually take YouTube and social media that seriously still, because they're already habituated to a television or a newspaper or listening to something that is traditional. What do you think about that?
Can't agree more on this. I mean, I'm sure we're all experiencing it right with our own parents into our own homes. But I guess, if we are able to, guide them through this entire thing, I'm sure that
The
they too
transition,
would,
right, with them as
yes,
well.
exactly.
Yeah.
Probably they're not really aware about how magnanimous it is out there. They're not aware about the varied and the vast
Right.
views that are, available out there, the different perspectives that are available to them.
Sure.
So, which is how TV, of course, has always been a part of our homes for time immemorial. But I guess if we kind of, guide them through this entire thing, if you handhold them, I don't think, they
Yeah, I
would
think
not want
I showed my mom how to figure out YouTube, and now she makes a new dish every other day. So I'm the most happiest guy at home. You know, I'm eating. I'm like, yes, mom. If you need any more assistance on YouTube, I'm right here. So figure it out. So I think just like that, consumption of media has been changing so much. But don't you think both these spaces, right, the new media and the news media, is also filled up with a bunch of toxic environment here and there in a way? I mean, which, see, one, the new media, which is the social media, has too much of content available, too much of information available. When you have too much of information available, you just don't know which is the information you want to lean towards. Wherein the television and the traditional media give us a perspective, and they are really adamant to that perspective. Don't you think that that's like a total different environment that these two are kind of creating?
While you say that, talking about the old school media, you've seen how channels are really bringing things into light. I mean, it looks more like a mumbo jumbo which is happening around there, like a big circus out there. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's there are pros and cons of everything. Which I guess, while we talk about so much of content which is there, and which is how we've also been talking about a lot of fake in facts. I mean,
Sure.
like
Like the WhatsApp University coming out, and
WhatsApp. I was just
the
coming.
WhatsApp University. Yeah, yeah.
The WhatsApp University has been spoken about now and again. I mean, every time you have a news that's being circulated on your platform, on your channel, and you'll see there's another one following it and trending it, saying that no, this is fake and this is fact. Getting that, Raja, talking about social media perspective, be it your Twitter, don't you think these have now more also become war zones in terms of the trolls that are happening? While we talk about war zones, yes, I can also say, and I can also bring into in perspective that how actually, if you go to see, there are revolutions. There are, earlier people would go out and get to the field to kind of showcase their anger or angst and their liberations. But now it's all happening
doubt.
right there
No doubt.
on
Yeah.
Twitter, on
And
Facebook.
that is,
The
I feel that is also because, sorry to cut you there, but Sangeeta, I also feel that is because people have that power in their own hands. A cell phone has a camera, and they just need to point at it at something and just upload it, and a few more voices and people with similar thoughts, when they see it, when they share it, it kind of goes viral. And revolution on social media, for example, we've seen what happened in America with Black Lives Matter. In India, justice for SSR. The real world rallies are actually getting stemmed by the virtual world rallies, is what's kind of happening. And so much of influencing is also happening. So, all right, there's a new profession which is called the social media influencers, as we know, which is the market out there. But a lot of these type of things are actually stemming from the digital ecosystem of the social media world and transferring onto the off world, wherein first it used to all happen out there as a candle march or peace protest and all of these things. But right now people are becoming aware of these scenarios just due to the internet. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. And I could actually see, this is like breaking the law of averages in terms of Sushant Singh Rajput's justice rally which happened. I could see a lot of people who actually got into content curation, and everybody had a YouTube channel, and everybody out there was the investigating.
Someone had an opinion or the other. Before the court of law could say something, someone was already punished. Yeah, so that's the whole thing. Do you think these type of influences will also have a partiality in the society? Are we consuming information in the wrong way rather than having just a perspective and being like, okay, this is my thought, might be we are wrong? Are we forgetting to say maybe we are not perfect?
Yes, and talking about partiality, talking about that prejudice that actually is there, and this is so much, it's so much visible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so evident around us. We all know across the world, you'll always have like a left view or the right view, the right perspective, and the right view or the left opinions, and the entire world seems to be going around this left and right, and everything seems to be divided.
Yeah.
And which is how even when content is created, content is curated, most of the time you actually get to see that it is put into, it is completely put into this boxes of left and right and right and left. So that kind of also, I think then it completely, the onus lies upon us to really figure out and find out that middle ground wherein.
But how many people, Sangeeta, do you really think are going to be in that space? Hey, whatever is being said on that platform is not the ultimate truth. How many
you need to recheck.
Yeah, these are opinions and not facts and figures out there, right? These are certain opinions by certain creators. These aren't also and even on in terms of a news, right? News is always backed by minimum 2 sources or more.
So now, Raja, it's been like really, really a long time that I've actually sat in front of the edit box. So I haven't done that because I don't want to be consumed by whatever is happening out there, because I really find it absolutely stupid, and it's just not driven. I mean, it's so, I don't know, it's just driven by very political agendas or,
right,
I don't know, whatever you call it out there.
We need a more decentralized system that gives us the information rather than a centralized system. Is that safe to say?
Very true. But then
just yesterday I was reading.
But Raja, having said that, I must say that while you have so much, right in front of your screens, on your phones, on your laptops, on your computers, when there's so much of information right at the tip of your finger, then you need to consume it very, very responsibly and very, very sensibly.
Right.
So everybody out there, while there's so much of content available to us, it's pretty opinion based. It again, like I said, it's very left and right driven.
Sure.
So has to be, there is a lot of, there's a lot of power that lies with you, inside you, right? Your voice.
Yesterday I was reading this news.
Today our voice has black.
Yeah. Just yesterday I was reading this news. False TRP racket. Blacklisted 3 channels for ads, says Rajiv Bajaj. Rajiv Bajaj explained that Bajaj brand has never associated with any channel that the company has deemed to be toxic for the society at large. Do you think more corporates need to come out with this type of stuff and take responsibility? Don't you think this is CSR as well? Corporate social responsibility.
And corporates who are actually filling up the space on the TV with all the campaigns and all the ads that you see, they are the people who are infusing the funds. So they might as well, that might is there with them, and they might as well exercise it rightly.
Yeah. I mean, with that being said, is it safe to say now, even though, as we said, there's more on the internet and everything, in the last decade, there's so much of a shift that has been done. Is it safe to say the power is in the hands of the people? But with great power comes great responsibility, as it's always been said. Do you think so?
Can't agree more on this, Raja. Absolutely.
Okay.
Totally. I am completely in agreement with you on this. And, while there's also another thought that probably I'd like to bring into this whole context here, that, Today, as I did hear you making a mention that you have your camera phones in, you're so susceptible, you're so vulnerable in terms of how people can actually come out and invade your privacies. I mean, you could just be you could just be having like a conversation, or you don't know when are you getting recorded, what is getting recorded, what. So also that
Right.
kind of needs to be very one has to be very cautious about it, because these two have now become mediums of information and mediums of sources, and you can see it all on the channels which are put out there. Next thing you see something getting viral, and it is not to somebody's knowledge. So yeah, that is another thing.
So let's say in the middle of a pandemic, we are a country that is the second largest in terms of cases as of now in the world, and the first largest populated country doesn't reveal data. So we are supposed to be the largest democracy in the world, and a country that has cases going up by the day because of where in the situation that we are and the population density. And we are still talking about certain news on the television which acts also as distraction, and we're not even covering what is the reality going on and how things are progressing or what the economics is and all of these type of things. So is it safe to say that television news is a very controlled format of news, and what comes out is only there for diversion of the general audience rather than educating the general audience about what is the fact of the matter right now? And if you really want to be educated about current affairs, switch that television off and go on to that internet and research what you really want to research about today.
Raja, while you say that, I think this is again, I'm going to beg to differ here. Like always, I'm going
For a
to
change.
do that.
No,
So, see, the
for a
podcast
change
today
today,
has been
for a
complete-
change today, we are not on the same page.
Talking about.
We're always not on the same page anyway, but
Yeah, we have to
okay,
be
fine,
somewhere.
yeah,
What about
okay. No,
causing
at the
a little
beginning
bit
of the
trouble?
episode, you said we are going to be on the same page. What happened? Are you going back on your own word now?
Okay.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
So
Okay.
please put out your perspective out there. Come on, let's go.
Okay, no, because you spoke about the diversion that is there, just and to just astray,
Sure.
and from the real statistics and the real crisis and harm that is happening to the nation. It's actually like towing the line. I mean, the you had a particular channel starting it, and then even
Sure.
the OTT actually took the same route. So
Right.
yes, it's very important that you figure out what really is important at that particular point in time. So which is what I was saying, that it may have all got started on TV, but then you could see, I mean, they
Oh, I mean, it
the
did
bug
get
actually
started on
went live
TV.
on the platform.
The whole news of SSR got started on television, but the conspiracy theories kind of started on Twitter and everywhere else. There were different versions of different things, and also below where it got started, it was a Facebook post, and below it was said, "This is what I personally think. There is no sources or anything attached to it." So whoever put this out had already put a disclaimer over there, which people did not read, but they read the entire story and went with the assumption that this is what the world wants to assume. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important that you consume all of it, but make sure that you're choosing your platforms right. You're choosing your source of information. Could it be TV? Could it be OTT? Of course, OTT seems to be the future. OTT is here to stay. Social news from the social media platforms is surely here to stay. Your voices today do have a platform. Voice it out. But make sure that while you're consuming it all and while you're curating it all, you need to do it with a whole, with a lot of sense of responsibility.
Let me ask you this, Sangeeta. Do you think in the next 10 years, a lot of television channels have already started shifting onto the app version of it?
Yeah, you have the smart TV now, for a matter of fact.
Yeah, and
not only that, and now you also have a television wherein you can continue to download whatever new apps are actually, because there are certain televisions which actually come with all your apps, but then now there is another form of television wherein you actually have, you can just download whatever you can. So yes, I think
Right.
there's going to be a great sync between the two.
Yeah. But do you see the slow closure of the television media versus the online media? Because recently, Network 18, Viacom Network 18 India was supposed to have a merger with Sony India, basically to form this huge umbrella. And last minute, Viacom 18 is owned by Reliance Industries, and they said no, we don't want to merge because our aim and agenda is to actually go OTT and not really look too much on the television front. Where Sony Live, whatever they call this
Tony
particular
Live, yeah.
Live, yeah. Sony Live has only about 0.5% of the OTT share. Wherein, on the other hand, if you look at what Jio is doing and Jio platforms are doing, it's gaining so much of momentum in terms of funding. Hence, they said, no, we're not really interested on merging on the television side of things. We're actually looking to do this online rather than transforming anywhere else. Do you think in the next decade we'll see a lot of television fade off and the money that used to be diverted towards television promotions and advertisements, which is already having a very good balance here on the online format, but a lot that money will actually move here onto the OTT and web media, and we'll see a fizzle of television, because it's already 30-40 years, man, that we've been watching television. Don't you? Everything has its time. Don't you think it's about time we say goodbye to the idiot box?
I'm definitely sure that yes, it's about time that we say goodbye to the television box, because we're already experiencing that entire decline there. We are seeing, until unless there is there's something which is which comes more out of collaboration.
I think first internet used to be an escape from the real world. Now it has become a hybrid of the real world in a way, in its own space, isn't it?
Totally.
And so your view in the next 10 years, what do you think, where is television going to be? Because for me personally, I think newspaper industry is dead. I'm saying it, newspaper industry is dead. And yeah, because there's nothing that you can do with newspapers anymore. And especially with the pandemic, people don't want newspapers anymore. People are saying, we don't want to touch your newspapers. We don't know if it's infected at the end of the day or whatever. So do you think television media is also going to face a similar fortune as per the news media?
Sorry, it is surely in the next 10 years. I don't see it the way probably we enjoyed our television shows. So I'm sure it's here. Whatever. I don't know what do I say.
No, I'm glad. With that being said, there have been some amazing sitcoms that we've all had our growing up with on television. May it be the mythological Ramayans and the Mahabharats, or Dekh Bhai Dekhs to Zaban Samal Ke, or whatever came through in the heydays of the 90s to the 2000s as well, the transformation towards that, to moving completely in the digital way. We always knew the digital wave is going to come in, but I think the pandemic just added a turbo jet behind that and made everything scale way faster than it was. Like if something was supposed to happen in the next 5 years. So is it safe to say and conclude today ki yes, the news media is here, the new media is here, and the new media and the news media both have opinions. Let's understand that opinions are opinions, and the opinions are not facts unless they are backed by a whole bunch of facts and sources. And any type of fact has to have at least two sources behind it. News can be driven via agenda, yes, and we are the people who need to make decisions on what is an agenda and what is not, and what we are consuming. Is that right to consume, or is it not? Is that safe to say?
True. It is very important. I have been saying this throughout my entire podcast that do not allow it to consume you, but make sure that you are consuming it, and you're consuming it with a lot of that is what I've been saying through my entire podcast, that do not allow it all to consume you. Rather, you should consume it more responsibly and more sensibly.
All right. Okay, with that being said, yes, the news old school traditional news media may fade off. I think it will fade off in the next 10 years, at least in the next decade to come. And the model where we are, which is the internet, baby, and that's why you can actually see us do what we do.
All the television makers are actually going to come behind you, Raja. They're just going to come.
The television makers are going to be like, okay, fine, we'll sell you monitors for a bigger screen to see your internet world. Fine, we're making better smart TVs now. There's no more CRTs. Even they want to evolve with time, I guess. So with that being said, I guess, there will be a transition and a paradigm shift between the old school media and the new media, and we thought it might take 10-15 years, but in the next 5 years, 6 years itself, we could actually see the whole shift happening.
It could be even sooner. True.
Yeah. And it's safe to say that, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product and your data is the cost that you pay with, right? Is that true? Your data and your patterns and your habits. So when you watch an ad, so if you've just Googled, say, a holiday, and if you've just watched an ad during your YouTube video or while you're scrolling on Instagram, if you've seen an ad, don't be surprised. That is because you are the product and they are trying to sell you the other product, which is sponsored by the people that is giving you the free content to consume. All right.
Right, and today, Raja, talking about the free content, I think this is one point we kind of also need to just highlight and bring into the conversation. And that is, I think today all of this is so much, we are able to consume all of this because maybe it's kind of free content, but while everybody knows that we've lashed onto it, we've kind of got addicted to it, it may come at a price. And then is where, this whole shift, we need to understand that will again people come back to television wherein the content is not all that expensive?
Yeah.
We really don't know.
For a change, I agree with Sangeeta as well, guys. So all right, with that being said, we wrap up this edition of Double Trouble. The old school media, which is the television, versus the online media, which is news media versus social media. Ladies and gentlemen, before we leave, I would like to say, please go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, share this video, and comment below what you would like to hear from us in the future. Right, Sangeeta?
Absolutely. And once again, I'm going to reiterate that like, subscribe, and share. And see, I've learned that, okay?
All right. And hit the bell icon for never miss an update. See, that's what they say. Hit that bell icon to never miss an update. I hope that was nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen. See you again. Double Trouble, here to burst your bubble. Peace out. Bye-bye. All right, that's it. Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah.
Oh my God, we just do this, right?